The days that followed the lecture changed everything. Yuna could not walk through the station without aliens stopping to stare. Some watched with fear. Some watched with respect. Some watched with a curiosity that burned like fire in their eyes. News had spread beyond the station. Reports traveled to other worlds. The humans are not what we thought. They come from a death world. They've been training for survival since before they knew other species existed. The Galactic Council held emergency meetings. Scientists reviewed their data on Earth. They had made a terrible mistake in their classification. A Category 2 world? No, Earth was something else entirely. Something they did not have a category for. On the station, life continued. But things were different now. 1 week after the lecture, Director Vaughn called Yuna to a meeting. The office was large and filled with strange art from many worlds. Vaughn sat behind a desk made of some metal Yuna did not recognize. "Lieutenant Kim," Vaughn began. "Thank you for coming." "Of course, Director. I have a proposal for you. The Academy leadership has discussed it at length. We would like you to become a co-instructor." Yuna was not surprised. She had expected something like this. "Co-instructor?" she asked. "Yes. You would teach alongside Instructor Myra. Your knowledge of human survival techniques would be invaluable. And frankly, the students trust you now. They want to learn from you." Yuna thought about this. Teaching had always been her work on Earth. Teaching soldiers, training them to survive. This would be the same, but on a larger scale. "Sergeant Park as well?" she asked. "If he agrees, yes. We would be honored to have both of you." That evening, Yuna told Tayo about the offer. They sat in their small room, looking out at the stars through the window. "Co-instructors," Tayo said slowly. "That's a big responsibility. It's also a big opportunity. We can show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Not just survival skills, but our way of thinking. Our determination. Our refusal to give up." Tayo nodded. "You're right. This is why we were sent here, in a way. Not just to learn, but to teach." They accepted the positions the next day. The Academy announced the change to all students. Reactions were mixed. Some were excited. Some were nervous. Some wondered what humans would teach that could possibly be harder than what they had already learned. They found out on the first day of the new curriculum. Yuna stood before the class with Mira beside her. The room was packed with students. Cal sat in the front row, fur bright with anticipation. "Today we begin a new type of training," Yuna announced. "We will not just teach you techniques. We will teach you the human philosophy of survival." She pressed a button and the room transformed into a simulation. A dense forest appeared around them. Rain fell heavily. Thunder rumbled in the distance. "On Earth," Yuna said, "we have a saying. The body gives up before the mind has to. This means that your physical limits are not your true limits. Your mind can push you further than you think possible." The students looked around nervously. The rain felt real. The thunder was loud. "Today you will learn to push past your limits. You will be uncomfortable. You will be tired. You will want to stop. But you will not stop. Because giving up is not survival." The training was hard. Harder than anything the Academy had done before. Yuna pushed the students to move through the forest, to climb over obstacles, to keep going when every part of them wanted to rest. Some students struggled. Some complained. But no one quit. At the end of the session, everyone collapsed with exhaustion. But there was something new in their eyes. Pride. Accomplishment. They had done something they did not think they could do. "This is the human way," Tayo told them. "We do not wait for conditions to be perfect. We do not stop when things are hard. We adapt. We endure. We survive." Cal's fur had turned a deep purple. Its legs shook with tiredness, but it was smiling. "That was the hardest thing I have ever done," Cal said. "I want to do it again." Una smiled. "You will, tomorrow." Weeks passed. The training continued. Word of the new curriculum spread across the galaxy. Students from other academies requested transfers to Galactic Unity Station. They wanted to train with the humans. Other species began to look at humans differently. The small, soft creatures who had joined the galactic community were not victims to be protected. They were warriors who had conquered one of the most hostile worlds in existence. Trade agreements changed. Political discussions shifted. Humans were no longer seen as the new children of the stars. They were respected as equals. In some cases, they were even feared. One day, an ambassador from a distant empire visited the station. He was tall and imposing, with scales that shimmered like gold. He came specifically to meet Lieutenant Una Kim. "I have heard stories," the ambassador said. "Stories about humans and their death world. I had to see for myself. And what do you think?" Una asked. The ambassador studied her for a long moment. "I think my empire was wise to seek friendship with Earth. I would not want humans as enemies." "We do not want enemies either," Una replied. "We have spent our whole history fighting to survive. We would prefer to spend our future in peace. Then perhaps there is hope for us all." The ambassador left with new respect for humanity. He was just one of many. Diplomats and scientists and military leaders from across the galaxy came to learn about the strange species that had turned survival into an art form. At the end of the training term, there was a graduation ceremony. Students who had completed the Academy's program received honors and recognition. For the first time, a human stood on the stage as an instructor rather than a student. Una looked out at the crowd of aliens who had trained under her guidance. They were stronger now, tougher, more confident. They had learned not just how to survive, but how to push beyond their limits. Instructor Myra stood beside her. "When you first arrived," Myra said quietly, "I thought I would teach you. I thought humans were soft and needed guidance. And now?" Myra's 4 eyes sparkled with warmth. "Now I know that I was the student all along. Humanity has been teaching the galaxy since the day you arrived. We just did not realize it." After the ceremony, Una found a quiet spot on the observation deck. She looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, her home. The death world that had forged her species into something extraordinary. Tejo found her there. "Thinking about home?" he asked. "Always. Do you miss it?" Una smiled. "Every day. But I think this is where we are supposed to be. Showing the galaxy who we are. Teaching them what we know." Tejo nodded. "The girl who wouldn't take notes." Una laughed. "Because they were teaching my debrief reports. And now you're writing new reports. New lessons. For the whole galaxy." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars shine. Somewhere out there, other humans were having their own experiences. Scientists exploring new worlds. Soldiers defending distant outposts. Families building new lives among the stars. All of them carrying the legacy of Earth with them. They had survived a death world. They had conquered their fears. They had learned to endure anything the universe could throw at them. And now they were teaching others to do the same. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The small, soft creatures from the gentle planet were actually survivors of one of the most dangerous worlds in existence. Warriors and teachers. Brave and kind, humanity had found its place among the stars. Not as students or children, but as equals. As teachers. As examples of what determination and courage could achieve. And it had all started with one woman who refused to take notes, because she had already written those lessons herself, long before she ever reached the stars. Word spread fast. Faster than light, faster than ships, faster than official reports could travel. Within hours, everyone on Galactic Unity Station knew about the human woman, who did not take notes. Stories grew as they passed from person to person. By dinner time, some versions said Una had wrestled a predator with her bare hands. Other versions said humans could breathe pure poison and walk through fire. The truth was strange enough, but rumors made it even stranger. Una and Taiho sat in the cafeteria that evening. Their usual quiet table was no longer quiet. Aliens approached constantly, asking questions, staring with curiosity, sometimes just standing nearby as if hoping to learn something by being close. Kel sat with them as always, but now the little alien looked proud. Its fur glowed a steady gold. "I am famous now," Kel said happily. "Everyone knows I am friends with the humans. They ask me questions all day. What do you tell them?" Taiho asked. "The truth. That you are wonderful and terrifying at the same time." Una smiled at that. "Terrifying? Us?" "Oh yes," Kel said seriously. "Very terrifying. But also kind. It is a strange combination." A tall alien with gray skin approached their table. It had long arms and a serious face. It wore the uniform of a station administrator. "Lieutenant Kim," the alien said formally. "I am Director Vaughn. I manage the Academy operations. May I speak with you?" "Of course, Director." Vaughn sat down across from Una. Its gray skin made its expressions hard to read, but its body language suggested nervousness. "Your comments in class today have created quite a situation," Vaughn said. "Many students are now questioning whether they should continue the program. They feel that humans should be teaching, not learning." "I did not mean to cause problems," Una said carefully. No. This is not a problem. This is an opportunity." Vaughn leaned forward. "The Academy would like to invite you to give a special lecture tomorrow about Earth and human survival capabilities." Una and Taiho exchanged glances. "What kind of lecture?" Taiho asked. "Whatever you think is appropriate. Our students want to understand humans better. They want to know how your species became what you are." Una thought about this. It was a chance to show the galaxy who humans really were. Not weak newcomers, but survivors of a dangerous world. "I will do it," she said. "But I want Sergeant Park to assist me. He has different experiences that would be valuable." "Of course. Thank you, Lieutenant." Vaughn stood and bowed slightly. "The lecture hall will be ready at midday tomorrow." After Vaughn left, Taiho let out a long breath. "The lecture," he said. "What are we going to say?" "The truth. All of it." That night, Una and Taiho planned their presentation. They talked about their training, their experiences, the many ways humans had learned to survive. They made notes about what would be most surprising to the alien students. "Remember the mountain training?" Taiho said. "Climbing at high altitude with thin air?" "Yes. And the jungle survival course. 2 weeks with no supplies. The desert march. 50 kilometers in full gear. The cold weather exercises. Sleeping in snow shelters." They had so many stories. So many examples. The hard part would be choosing which ones to share. The next day came quickly. When Una and Taiho arrived at the lecture hall, they found it packed. Not just students, but instructors, administrators, and visitors from other parts of the station. Word had spread far. Instructor Mira stood near the front. She nodded at Una with respect. "I have never seen this room so full," Myra said. "You have made quite an impression, Lieutenant." "I just told the truth." Sometimes the truth is the most impressive thing of all. Una walked to the center of the stage. Hundreds of alien eyes watched her. Hundreds of ears and other hearing organs waited to listen. The room was completely silent. "Thank you all for coming," Una began. "Yesterday, Some of you asked how humans know so much about survival. Today, I will show you. A holographic display activated behind her. Taiho had prepared images from Earth's databases. This is Earth, Yuna said. The planet appeared in blue and green, beautiful from space. You have been told it is a peaceful world. But let me show you what that peace really looks like. The image changed to show a massive storm from space. A swirling circle of white clouds, hundreds of kilometers wide. This is what we call a hurricane. A storm with winds faster than most of your fastest vehicles. These storms form regularly on Earth. They destroy everything in their path. Humans learn to predict them, prepare for them, and survive them. Gasps filled the room. The image changed again. Now it showed a volcano erupting. Red fire and black ash filling the sky. This is a volcanic eruption. Mountains on our planet sometimes explode. They throw molten rock into the sky and cover entire regions in ash. The heat is enough to melt metal. Humans have lived near volcanoes for our entire history. More gasps. Some aliens covered their eyes or turned away. This is an earthquake, Yuna continued. The image showed collapsed buildings and cracked ground. The ground itself moves and shakes. Buildings fall. The land breaks apart. We cannot predict these. We can only prepare and survive. She showed more images. Floods, droughts, tornadoes, forest fires that burned for weeks. Each image brought new sounds of shock and disbelief from the audience. But nature is only part of our danger, Yuna said. Let me show you Earth's creatures. New images appeared. A shark with rows of sharp teeth. A tiger with powerful claws. A snake with deadly venom, spiders, scorpions, crocodiles. These are some of our predators, Yuna explained. They hunt. They kill. They have shared our planet for millions of years. Humans learned to hunt them back. We learned to defend ourselves. We learned to become the most dangerous species on our world. The room was completely quiet. Even the breathing seemed to have stopped. Taiho stepped forward to speak. This is why humans do not fear your survival training, he said. We have been training for survival since we could walk. Our children learn to swim in water that might contain predators. Our soldiers train in conditions that would kill most species. We do this because our planet required it. Yuna nodded and continued. We are not brave because we are foolish. We are brave because we have no choice. Earth made us this way. Every generation that survived passed their knowledge to the next. We became stronger, smarter, tougher. Not because we wanted to, but because we had to. She looked around the room at all the stunned faces. You looked at our planet and saw green forests and blue oceans. You thought it was paradise. But those forests hide predators. Those oceans contain monsters. Our beautiful world is a constant test, and only the strong survive. The lecture continued for another hour. Yuna and Taiho answered questions. They explained more about human training and human history. They talked about wars and diseases and disasters that had shaped humanity. When they finished, the room was different. The aliens who had entered thinking humans were soft newcomers now understood something important. Humans were not children in the galactic community. They were survivors of one of the most dangerous planets anyone had ever heard of. And they had been preparing for the stars their entire existence dot as the crowd slowly left. Instructor Mira approached Yuna one more time. I have lived for 200 years, Myra said quietly. I have seen many species join the galactic community. I thought I understood the universe. And now? Yuna asked. Myra shook her head slowly. Now I understand that I have much more to learn. Starting with humans. Outside the lecture hall, aliens gathered in small groups. They talked in hushed voices. They looked at every human they saw with new eyes. The galaxy was finally seeing humanity clearly, and they would never underestimate them again. 3 days passed at the academy. Each day brought new lessons. Toxic gases, low oxygen environments, high gravity movement, zero gravity combat. Instructor Myra taught everything with great skill and patience, and each day, Una sat quietly without taking a single note. The other students had started to notice. Whispers followed her through the corridors. At meals, aliens would point at her and talk in quiet voices. Even the instructors exchanged glances when they saw the human woman sitting calmly while others wrote frantically. Kel had become a regular companion. The little blue-furred alien sat with Una and Taiho at every meal. It asked endless questions about Earth and humans. Its fur changed colors constantly as it learned new and surprising things. "Today is toxic atmosphere training," Kel said at breakfast. "I am very nervous. My species cannot survive even small amounts of poison in the air." "You will be fine," Una assured Kel. "Just follow the instructions carefully." "Easy for you to say," Kel replied. "You are never nervous about anything." They walked to class together. The simulation room had been set up with special equipment. Each student received a breathing mask and a protective suit. The technology was advanced, far better than anything Earth had. Instructor Mira stood at the front as always. Her 4 eyes moved across the room and stopped on Una. Something was different in Myra's expression today. There was curiosity there, and perhaps something like suspicion. "Today, we simulate the mining planet Desser," Myra announced. "The atmosphere contains sulfur dioxide and hydrogen chloride. Both are deadly to most species. You will learn to navigate toxic environments and use protective equipment." The simulation began. Yellow-green gas filled the room. Through the protective mask, Una could smell nothing, but she could see the poison swirling around them like angry clouds. Myra guided them through exercises. How to check equipment, how to seal leaks, how to share oxygen in emergencies, how to move efficiently while conserving air. Una performed every task perfectly. She did not hesitate. She did not need instruction to repeat. Mira watched her closely. The simulation ended after 2 hours. Students removed their masks with relief. Many looked pale and shaken. The experience had been intense. "Before you leave," Myra said, "I have a question." The room went quiet. Mira walked slowly between the desks. Her silver skin reflected the soft lights. Her 4 eyes were focused on one student. She stopped in front of Una. "Lieutenant Kim," Myra said formally, "I have noticed something about you." Una looked up calmly. "Yes, instructor. In 4 days of classes, you have not written a single note. While other students fill their tablets with information, you sit and listen without recording anything. Why is this?" The room was completely silent. Every alien watched with intense interest. This was the question they had all wanted to ask. Taiho tensed beside Una. He was ready to defend her if needed. But Una just smiled. It was a calm smile, confident and peaceful. "Because you are teaching my debrief reports," she said simply. Myra's 4 eyes blinked in confusion. "I do not understand. Explain." Una stood up slowly. She looked around the room at all the watching faces. Then she looked back at Instructor Myra. "On Earth," Una began, "I am a survival instructor. I teach soldiers how to survive in hostile environments. Radiation zones, extreme temperatures, toxic atmospheres, high pressure, low oxygen. All of these things." Whispers rippled through the room. "After every training exercise," Una continued, "I write a debrief report. In that report, I explain what happened, what we learned, and how to improve. Your lessons, Instructor Myra, are almost identical to my debrief reports. The same information, the same techniques, the same warnings. Myra stood very still. Her expression was impossible to read. "You are saying," Myra said slowly, "the humans already know everything I teach here?" "Not everything," Una admitted. "Some of the alien-specific biology is new to me. But the core survival techniques? Yes, we know them all. We practice them regularly. Our military requires this training for every soldier." A student with red scales raised its hand. "But how?" "Earth is supposed to be a safe planet. A gentle world with perfect conditions." Una turned to face the student. "Who told you that?" "The Galactic surveys. They measured your planet and said it was Category 2, minimal danger." Una laughed softly. It was not a mean laugh. It was the laugh of someone hearing a very wrong statement. "Category 2, she repeated. "Let me tell you about my Category 2 planet." She walked to the front of the room. Even Mira stepped aside, curious to hear what the human would say. "On Earth," Una said, "we have places where the temperature reaches 56 degrees. Hot enough to kill in minutes. We also have places where the temperature falls to minus 89 degrees. Cold enough to freeze blood." The students listened in stunned silence. "We have storms called hurricanes that can level entire cities. We have earthquakes that open the ground and swallow buildings. We have volcanoes that bury regions in fire and ash. We have floods that wash away everything in their path. We have droughts that turn fertile land to dust." Cal's fur had turned completely white. Even Mira looked unsettled. "And that is just our weather," Una continued. "Our atmosphere contains a gas called oxygen. Highly reactive. Highly flammable. One spark in the wrong place and everything burns. We breathe fire every day and think nothing of it." "Impossible," someone whispered. "Our planet has predators on every continent. Creatures with claws and teeth that hunt and kill. Our oceans contain animals large enough to swallow transport ships. Our smallest creatures carry diseases that have killed billions of us throughout our history." Una paused. The room was completely still. Humans did not evolve on a safe planet. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every single day. And we survived. We adapted. We became the most successful species on our planet not because Earth was gentle, but because we learned to be stronger than everything that tried to destroy us. She looked at Instructor Myra directly. "So when you teach survival skills?" "Instructor, you teach things my species learned thousands of years ago. Things we wrote down in our own debrief reports, long before we knew other intelligent life existed. I do not take notes because I do not need to. I have already written these lessons myself." The silence stretched for a long moment. Then Myra did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a strange sound, like wind chimes in a storm. "Lieutenant Kim," Myra said, "I believe I owe you an apology." "For what, Instructor?" "For underestimating your species." Mira's 4 eyes sparkled with new respect. "When humans joined the galactic community, we thought you were children, new, innocent, in need of protection and teaching. And now?" Una asked. Myra looked at her with all 4 eyes focused intently. "Now I think we should be asking you to teach us." The students erupted in whispers and conversation. Everything they thought they knew about humans had just changed. The soft, small species from the gentle planet was nothing of the sort. Taeho stood up and walked too. Stand beside Una. Together, they faced the room, full of aliens who were seeing humanity clearly. For the first time, Kel's fur had turned a deep gold color. Wonder. Pure wonder. "Class dismissed," Myra said quietly. "I need to make some reports of my own." As students filed out, many of them stopped to look at Una with new eyes. Some nodded with respect. Some hurried away, perhaps to tell others what they had learned. The galaxy was about to find out that humans were not the newcomers they appeared to be. They were survivors of a death world, and they had been ready for the stars long before they reached them. The ship was big. That was the first thing Lieutenant Yuna Kim noticed when she stepped onto the Galactic Unity Station. It was bigger than anything she had ever seen. The walls were white and clean. The lights were soft and blue. Everywhere she looked, there were aliens of all shapes and sizes walking around. She took a deep breath. The air smelled strange. It was too clean, too perfect. She missed the smell of Earth already. The smell of rain, of trees, of morning coffee in the barracks. Sergeant Taiho Park walked beside her. He was tall and quiet. His eyes moved around the station, watching everything. He was a good soldier. Yuna trusted him with her life. "This place is huge," Taiho said quietly. "Yes," Yuna agreed. "Try not to look impressed." Taiho smiled a little. Hard not to be. They walked through the long hallways. Other species passed them by. Some had 4 arms. Some had no eyes. Some floated instead of walking. Many of them looked at the 2 humans with curiosity. Humans were still new to the galactic community. They had only made first contact 5 years ago. A small creature with purple skin walked up to them. It had big eyes and a friendly face. It wore a uniform that marked it as a guide. "Welcome to Galactic Unity Station," the creature said. Its voice was high and soft. "You must be the human representatives. I am Bolin. I will take you to the academy." "Thank you, Bolin," Yuna said politely. They followed Bolin through more hallways. The station was like a small city. There were shops and restaurants. There were parks with strange plants. There were schools and hospitals. Everything was organized and clean. Finally, they reached a large building. The sign above the door said Galactic Survival Academy in many different languages. "This is it," Bolin said. "The academy teaches survival skills for dangerous planets. Many species send their best soldiers here to learn. You are the first humans to attend." Yuna nodded. Earth's military had chosen her and Taiho for this mission. They were supposed to learn from the galactic community. They were supposed to bring back useful knowledge. But Yuna had read the course materials already. She had a feeling this would be interesting in a different way. They entered the academy. The main hall was filled with aliens sitting at desks. There were maybe 50 students from 20 different species. Some were small and furry. Some were big and covered in scales. Some looked like insects. Some looked like nothing Yuna had ever imagined. A tall alien stood at the front of the room. She had 4 eyes and silver skin. Her body was thin and elegant. She wore a uniform with many medals on it. "That is Instructor Myra," Bolin whispered. "She is a Valari. Very respected. She has survived on more than 30 dangerous planets." Yuna and Taiho found empty seats near the back. The other students watched them with interest. Whispers filled the room. "Humans, so small. I heard they die easily. Their planet is very gentle, yes?" Yuna ignored the whispers. She sat down and looked at the front of the room. Taiho sat beside her and pulled out a tablet to take notes. Instructor Myra raised one of her 4 hands. The room became quiet. "Welcome to the Galactic Survival Academy," Myra said. Her voice was calm and strong. "I am Instructor Myra. For the next 6 weeks, I will teach you how to survive on hostile planets. This knowledge may save your life one day." She pressed a button and a hologram appeared in the air. It showed a rocky planet with red storms. "Today, we begin with radiation survival," Myra continued. "Many planets have high radiation. Your bodies are not designed for this. Without proper training, radiation will kill you in hours." The other students began writing notes quickly. Their hands and claws and tentacles moved fast across their tablets. They looked worried and focused. Yuna leaned back in her chair. She did not write anything. Taiho noticed. He leaned over and whispered, "Yuna, shouldn't you take notes?" "No need," she whispered back. Taiho frowned but said nothing more. Mira continued her lecture. She explained how radiation affects the body. She explained the signs of radiation sickness. She explained how to find shelter and how to protect yourself. "The most important thing," Myra said, "is to limit your exposure time. Stay behind cover. Move quickly between safe zones. Never stay in open radiation for more than 10 minutes. A student with green scales raised its hand. "Instructor, what if we cannot find shelter?" "Then you must create shelter," Myra answered. "Dig into the ground. Use your equipment to build walls. Anything that puts mass between you and the radiation source." The students wrote faster. This information was new to most of them. Their home planets were safe. They had never faced such dangers before. Yuna watched quietly. Everything Myra said was familiar to her. Very familiar. The lecture continued for 2 hours. Myra covered many topics. Chemical contamination, extreme temperatures, toxic atmospheres, low gravity, high gravity. Each topic came with detailed instructions and survival techniques. Through it all, Yuna did not write a single note. The other students noticed. They whispered to each other. Even some instructors in the back of the room were watching the human woman who sat so calmly. When the lecture ended, Mira asked if there were questions. Many students raised their hands. They asked about equipment and techniques. They asked about specific scenarios. Yuna stayed silent. After class, Taiho walked with Yuna back to their quarters. The station had given them a small room with 2 beds. It was simple but comfortable. "Yuna," Taiho said carefully, "why didn't you take notes?" "That was important information." Yuna sat on her bed and smiled. "Was it?" "Of course it was. We're here to learn." "Taiho, did anything Myra said surprise you?" Taiho thought about it. He was quiet for a moment. Then his eyes widened a little. "No," he admitted slowly. "It didn't, exactly." Yuna lay back on her bed and looked at the ceiling. Everything she taught today, we learned in basic training. Radiation survival, chemical protection, extreme environment operations. We already know all of this. Taiho sat down heavily on his own bed. But the galactic community thinks this is advanced training. Yes, they do. And they think Earth is a gentle planet. Yes, they do. Taiho was quiet for a long time. Then he laughed softly. They have no idea, do they? Yuna smiled. No, they really don't. Outside their window, the stars shine bright. Somewhere out there was Earth, a planet the galaxy thought was soft and safe. A planet that had trained soldiers like Yuna and Taiho to survive anything. Tomorrow would be another class. Another lecture about survival skills that humans already knew. Yuna closed her eyes. This mission was going to be very interesting indeed. The next morning came quickly. Yuna woke up before the station's artificial sunrise. She did her exercises in the small room while Taiho still slept. Push-ups, sit-ups, stretches. Her body was a weapon, and weapons needed care. Taiho woke up when she was finishing. He watched her with sleepy eyes. How long have you been awake? He asked. 2 hours. Of course you have. He got out of bed slowly. Breakfast? They walked to the station's cafeteria. It was a large room filled with long tables. Aliens of all species sat together, eating foods that looked strange and sometimes frightening. Some ate things that moved. Some ate things that glowed. Some did not eat at all, but absorbed nutrients through their skin. The cafeteria had a special section for humans. The station had prepared Earth food for them. It was not perfect, but it was close enough. Rice, vegetables, meat that tasted almost like chicken. Yuna and Taiho sat alone at a small table. The other species kept their distance. Humans were still mysterious to them, unknown, perhaps even a little frightening in their strangeness. A small alien with blue fur approached their table. It had big ears and a nervous expression. It wore a student uniform like theirs. "Excuse me," the alien said in careful words. "May I sit with you? I am Cal. I am from the planet Voss." Yuna smiled warmly. "Of course. Please, sit." Cal sat down across from them. Its fur changed color slightly, becoming a lighter blue. Yuna guessed this meant it was happy or relieved. "Thank you," Cal said. "I have never met humans before. You are very interesting to me." "We think you are interesting too," Taiho said kindly. "Your fur changes color?" Cal's fur turned pink. "Yes, it shows my feelings. Right now I am embarrassed? Is that the right word?" "Your words are perfect," Yuna assured Cal. They ate together and talked. Cal explained that the Voss were a peaceful species. They lived on a planet with perfect weather and no predators. They had never known danger until they joined the galactic community. "That is why I am here," Cal said. "To learn survival. My people want to explore new planets, but we do not know how to face danger." "That's brave of you," Yuna said. "Learning to face your fears." Cal's fur turned orange. "Pride, perhaps." "Thank you. But I am very scared. Yesterday's lesson about radiation was very frightening. I did not sleep well." Taiho nodded with understanding. "Radiation is scary. How do you humans stay so calm?" Cal asked. "I watched you yesterday. Neither of you looked worried at all." Yuna and Taiho exchanged a look. "We have faced radiation before," Yuna said simply. "It is not new to us." Cal's ears went flat against its head. "You have? But I thought Earth was a safe planet." Before Yuna could answer, a bell rang through the cafeteria. It was time for class. They walked together to the academy building. Today's classroom was different. It was set up like a simulation room. The walls could project images and create virtual environments. Instructor Mira stood at the center of the room. Her 4 eyes scanned the students as they entered. "Today," she announced, "we will practice extreme temperature survival, both hot and cold. Take your positions." The students spread out across the room. Yuna stood near the back with Taiho and Cal. She still carried no tablet, no notes. Mira pressed a button and the room changed. Suddenly, they were standing in a frozen wasteland. Snow fell from an invisible sky. The temperature dropped rapidly. Yuna could see her breath in the air. "This simulation recreates the ice planet North," Myra explained. Her voice came from everywhere. Temperature, -40 degrees. Wind speed, 60 kilometers per hour. In these conditions, an unprotected body will die in minutes. Many students shivered. Some wrapped their arms around themselves. Cal's fur turned completely white. Yuna stood still. Her face showed nothing. "The key to cold survival," Myra continued, "is to keep moving while also conserving energy. You must find or create shelter quickly. You must protect your extremities. Fingers and toes will freeze first." The simulation continued for an hour. Mira taught them how to build snow shelters, how to start fires with limited resources, how to recognize the signs of hypothermia. Una listened quietly. Every word was familiar. She had trained in weather colder than this. All Korean soldiers did. Winter warfare was part of basic education. Then the simulation changed. The snow disappeared. The cold became heat. Suddenly, they were in a desert. The sun blazed overhead. The temperature climbed past 50 degrees. Now we experience the desert planet Cora, Myra said. In extreme heat, your body will fail quickly. Dehydration and heat stroke are the biggest dangers. More lessons followed. How to find water in a desert. How to protect yourself from the sun. How to travel at night when temperatures drop. Again. Una did not write anything. Kel noticed. Its fur turned gray with confusion. Una, Kel whispered. Why you not take notes? This information could save your life. I already know it, Una whispered back. Kel looked shocked. How is that possible? Instructor Mira has trained for decades. She has survived these environments many times. Una smiled gently. So have I. The simulation ended. The room returned to normal. Students were sweating and tired. The virtual experience had felt very real. Myra looked satisfied. Good work today. Tomorrow we will cover toxic atmosphere survival. You are dismissed. As students left the room, Kel stayed close to Una and Taiho. I do not understand, Kel said. You said you have survived extreme temperatures. But Earth has a pleasant climate. The galactic records say so. Taiho laughed quietly. The galactic records are wrong. Very wrong, Una agreed. They walked through the station's corridors. Kel followed them like a curious child following interesting strangers. Please explain, Kel begged. I want to understand humans better. Una thought for a moment. Then she nodded. Earth is not a gentle planet, she said. The galactic community measured our average temperature and decided we were comfortable. But Earth has deserts hotter than Cora. Earth has frozen places colder than North. We have hurricanes that can destroy cities, earthquakes that can split the ground open, volcanoes that can bury entire regions in fire and ash. Kel's fur cycled through several colors. Fear, disbelief, confusion. And you live there? Kel asked in a small voice. We thrive there, Taiho said. Billions of us. Earth is not safe, Una continued. It has never been safe. Humans learned to survive by adapting to everything our planet could throw at us. Cold, heat, storms, disasters. We faced them all, and we survived. They reached the humans' quarters. Kel stood in the doorway, still processing what it had heard. So when Instructor Myra teaches survival skills, Kel started. She teaches things we learned as children, Una finished. Things we practice every day. Things our military trains for constantly. Kel's fur turned a deep purple. Una did not know what that color meant. Perhaps amazement. Perhaps a new kind of respect. I think, Kel said slowly, that the galaxy does not know humans very well. No, Una agreed. They really don't. Kel left to return to its own quarters. Una closed the door and sat on her bed. That little one will spread the word, Taiho said. I know. Is that what you want? Una looked at the ceiling. The galaxy sees us as weak and new. That is dangerous. If they think they can threaten us or push us around, they might try. But if they understand what we really are, they will think twice, Taiho finished. Exactly. Outside, the station hummed with life. Thousands of aliens going about their daily business. They had no idea that the small, soft humans in their midst were survivors of one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. But they would learn. One lesson at a time, they would learn.